Bro. I'm sure they probably do this every day or something, right? Like this request or this commit was made on the 13th of October. The same day. Was there a, who called, former Hamas leader calls for Global Day of Jihad on October 13th? Well, that's when it was updated. No shot, bro. Who has access? Listen to me. Who are you at Twitch? Okay, listen. Just use a VPN, or if you're worried about losing your job at Twitch, make sure you go on incognito mode, and then they can't track you. Okay. Go into incognito mode, and they can't track you. All right. So go into. I want to know who answered this ticket. Where's the team that has access to this Jira system or whatever? Okay, or who has access to the. I guess, would it be the ticket people? Whoever's working the Jira, those would be the people who could tell us, because whoever commits it at the end of the day, it might not matter. Could you imagine if this... Hold on. Okay, this is like, what I'm saying is kind of a half meme, but it's also like true, right? Like, if the person who did this commit or request was Muslim, they're using Amazon to commit like a form of jihad against Jews on the Amazon web servers, right? Like, that's what's going on, right? Like, there's a junior dev who's engaged in geo-banning jihad against Israel. I want to know who made this request. Oh my God! And then the day after, this happened the day after, or was reported the day after. Amazon exec sparks outrage after wearing necklace with Palestinian flag. When did this happen? Because the article is dated October 14th. Oh, no, wait, this is 2024. Never mind. What threat does the Day of Jihad pose to American cities? You never would have thought it would have meant that you're not getting your new Twitch account made. Amazon investigates claims of anti-Semitism after workers blow whistle. Highly offensive comments posted on company-wide chat room. Bro, this isn't even talking about just my Amazon friends. I hear so many crazy comments about large company Slack channels that it's just like basically open season to be like an insane, unhinged college kid in these Slack channels. Like some of the shit that people tell me, like, you guys are posting this political shit at work, and it's like, yeah, as long as you have like a certain opinion, you're just like, you're like greenlit to just be unhinged as fuck. And I'm like, this seems like a nightmare. Nobody leaks this shit. I don't know. That just sounds wacky or wild. But I don't know. Maybe, yeah. Holy fuck. You have to find out who created the Jira task, the pull request, and who reviewed the PR. Or are my Amazon or Twitch workers? Somebody find out. Actually, you know what? It wouldn't even surprise me if... You probably can't, actually. I bet it's all been closed. I bet there are Twitch employees watching this stream right now. What an unhinged. You guys are actually insane. Jesus. Remember back a few years ago, anything even remotely close to anti-Semitism would delete you from the internet? What happened? It's because the anti-Semitism, it was never about anti-Semitism. It was about white nationalists. Do you think Twitch will provide an explanation, or do they just move on? I don't know. It feels like they've gotten away with not commenting or talking about literally any of this. They don't talk about any of this. It's been days now of like hundreds of thousands of liked and retweeted things from different communities on Twitter. And like Twitch is just completely and utterly silent. And also so is the entire media. Nobody is talking about it at all. That, again, those Asmongold articles about the Palestinian genocide thing, that shit was written like hours. That shit was written hours after Asmongold said that. But nobody anywhere has said anything about this. It's actually wild. Jewish Israeli Amazon workers say company tolerating anti-Semitism by employees. November 15th, 2023. Damn. One community in Phone Tool, an internal messaging app, is called I Stand with Palestine, with the description being, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, regarded by many as a call for the elimination of Israel. Dude, everything I hear about your Slack channel shit in these big companies is wild to me. I cannot believe that you guys actually have these conversations. It's actually unhinged. It's insane, the shit that I get. And it's not just from Amazon, just from other large companies too. People shoot me things. They're like, yeah, bro, our Slack channels are crazy. What the fuck? Jesus Christ. What's a Slack channel? It's like chat rooms, but for tech nerds so they can feel cool about themselves.
Hello?
Hey, what's up, buddy?
Can you hear me? Am I loud enough or too loud?
Hold on. You're perfect.
Okay. I'm holding the mic near my mouth. So I'm just catching up on some of this Twitch stuff. I've seen quite a few different things, and so you haven't been on Twitch. I was going to just ask you a couple questions.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw this Frogan clip. Obviously, I saw the Jews stuff, but then I also saw the soldier stuff in regards to her hoping soldiers get PTSD and shit.
Only the non-repentful ones, to be fair, but yeah.
Wait, what does that mean? I'm not.
Well, later on, she's like, well, if you were a soldier and you came back to the U.S. and you acknowledged that, like, the U.S. military is evil and everything you did was wrong, then I forgive you or something. So.
Okay, yeah, okay.
I'm like half memeing. It's still an insane comment to make, yeah.
Yes, it is. Okay. And so in knowing this and knowing she's constantly considered the rising star, what is it about Twitch as a company that functions that makes it so these kinds of people are enabled and feel safe enough to say this kind of shit?
I think there's a reciprocating thing, or there's a feedback right now. One is that the culture inside of the Twitch company, I think, is probably significantly left. And then the person that drives about 99% of the political conversation on Twitch is Hasan. And Frogan is a Hasan mod, so she's greenlit by him and his community. And then she's also greenlit by all of the other Hasan orbiters, like Denims and Mike from PA and everything else. Such that Hasan was amplifying Frogan when she was like attacking Ethan a long time ago, just because Ethan unfollowed her on Twitter, because Ethan didn't like the fact that Frogan was basically celebrating mass rapes and murders on October 7th.
Okay, a follow-up questions then. You said Hasan kind of runs a politics community on Twitch, or he's just the driving force for it.
Yeah.
Is it so profitable on Twitch, this political commentary community, that they would like risk their brands for this kind of stuff?
Whose brands are we talking about right now?
Twitch's brand. Well, they have brand deals with people. Obviously, they run ads.
I don't think the sponsors I don't think anybody that does advertising on Twitch has any fucking idea what happens on that site. For some reason, Twitch has gotten like very effective at having no oversight. So, for example, the one person I just referenced, Denims.
Sure, yeah.
Are you watching my stream?
I'm not watching it right now.
Oh, okay. Well, so if you were to go to, I don't know if she'll clear all of her VODs. Hasan, I think, has wiped his entire Discord like 3 times in the past 2 days, by the way.
Okay.
But if you go to like Denim stream, for instance, and there's a lot of examples on Twitch, but so she is the
idea that
she's the largest like political figure, the largest political woman streamer on Twitch, right? If you were to go to her stream and you were to check any random VOD, the intro to her stream is like an hour of just like watching other people's like YouTube content and shit. There's just her AFK just like playing other people's stuff. It could be mainstream news stuff. It could be other channels. It could be whatever. But like this type of stuff happens on Twitch a lot. For some reason, Twitch is really good at avoiding basically any type of
copyright.
What?
Isn't this like just copyright infringement? Is that
well, yeah, but Twitch doesn't have any content ID or anything like that, like YouTube does. So unless somebody actually manually does a takedown on Twitch, you'll never run into a problem. So people just illegally restream stuff on Twitch all the time. Basically, kind of like how Justin TV used to be.
Okay, got you. And so I guess because they're not suffering any of the consequences of having these people on their platform, because they're able to avoid any kind of moderation from the advertisers. They just have felt no reason, monetarily speaking, to take any action. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah, and they probably kind of agree with it. Yeah, and there's no repercussion. So.
Okay, and very lefty moderation team. I think that's another claim you made. Like, what proof do you have that the moderation team over at Twitch is very
not the
left?
Moderation team, just the company culture? I mean, I can't really prove it, but I mean,
examples
like, no, I just most San Francisco like company culture, like in this area, like you can tell by if you look at TwitchCon, like the types of creators that they promote and support, the types of like they're very like I don't want to say woke friendly, like it's a bad thing, but they're like super pro trans and LGBT and all of that, which is fine. I'm not saying that is bad. But then like the CEO is like calling into Hasan's stream and like singing happy birthday to him and stuff. Like Twitch, I think the entire, like a whole bunch of the Twitch staff like literally called in to sing Hasan happy birthday. Like here, I'll link it to the tweet or whatever. So the company culture is probably pretty left leaning. Yeah.
Okay, but I can see that the company culture supports Hasan a lot. You haven't been there and just seen some of the employees. I'm sure the employees post online. There's never been times where you've seen Twitch employees post about political stuff, or do they really just stay offline? They never really voice themselves publicly.
The people behind the scenes, you're not going to see say much stuff politically, publicly. I've never seen that before.
Okay, gotcha. And in regards to the whole Frogan stuff, because I feel like that's going to be the center point for a lot of this, do you have anything you think I should know in regards to her? Because I'm not as familiar with the character. This is like my first time seeing a couple of her clips. So,
I mean, she's just an unhinged person enabled by Hasan. She's just a crazy white American girl born in Michigan who wishes that she was born in Lebanon and wasn't quite as white. She LARPs basically as a Muslim. She just is online like saying unhinged shit all day, celebrating Israeli deaths, worshiping fucking Hamas, Hezbollah, whatever else. Like this is that's what they do. I don't know what else to say. Yeah. Did you see that little panel thing that got deleted?
Yeah. With the Jews are bad and they try to walk it back, but they kind of all fucked up because some of them were saying different things about what it means. Hasbro, is it, or what was the word?
Sabra or something. It's like a brand. It's an Israeli brand of like hummus, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I think Ethan was pretty right on that. Ethan was seething about the whole thing. He was like, clearly that's what you guys are doing. And then she tried to walk it back. But I think another one of the panelists was like, no, this is supposed to signify the people who murdered my mother's people or some shit like that. Was that am I misremembering?
I don't know what they said, but it was like a thing to be like, cool, look at how cool the Arabs are. And then like to make fun of people who didn't carry the...
I saw Ethan repost this, but apparently one of the other panelists was like, no, it's not about hummus. It's clearly about people.
Well, Denims, the other person I made the comment about, Denims said something along the lines of like when she was, I think it was when they were replacing Ethan. I linked you the full panels on YouTube, so by the way. I think that when they linked or when they pulled out Ethan, she said something like, is there like an anti-Zionist category? So I mean, like it's pretty obvious what they were going for, but.
Okay, so you didn't see the whole, what was his name, Capri Sun? What was this guy?
Maybe, I don't know, you can link me. I watched this whole panel, though, off stream last night, but...
I'm sure the chat will let you know, but I'm pretty sure one of the panelists, one of the males who was on the panel was like, clearly like, no, this is definitely about people. It has nothing, it's not about hummus, like she's claiming. Which was really confusing to me, because I thought they were all in on it. But I think his name was Capri, I don't know, you'll find it. Oh, yeah, the other thing I was going to ask you about, I saw Sneeko got unbanned on Twitch.
Yeah.
While you're still banned, how are you feeling about all that? Obviously, you don't really care if he's unbanned. You just want to get yourself unbanned. But what's your thoughts?
Yeah, just that. Like, I don't have like a huge investment in Sneeko being unbanned on a Twitch or YouTube or whatever. Like, I don't have like a huge feelings about it or anything.
Not gonna lie though, I'm impressed. I'm impressed he got unbanned on YouTube. That one surprised me for sure. Twitch, I'm like, maybe they're just going for it. I was surprised on YouTube unbanning him. Were you?
That they unbanned him? At this point, nothing surprises me. I don't know. It's unreal. Yeah, I don't know. Like Fresh and Fit getting unbanned from Twitch as well. It's just like, I don't know. I feel like there's probably somebody that just watches my stream on Twitch and they just unban people to fuck with me.
I was definitely surprised. I don't think I've ever seen a permaban on YouTube that's lasted multiple years get undone. Have you?
You never... Wait, say that last thing again?
I've never seen a permaban on YouTube that gets undone.
On YouTube? I don't know. I'm not sure, actually.
No.
But not many big creators get permabanned. Usually they just kind of like fizzle out. Or if they do get permabanned, they just like stop making content. So I don't even know who I would compare it to. Mr. Girl has, somebody said? I don't know if he even got, unbanned.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, that's it for me. I just wanted to get some bit of information on topic. But if you find anything...
Well, there's just a lot of weird stuff going on. We just found out...
Behind the scenes, you mean?
Well, we just found out today that as of October 10th of last year, somebody at Twitch snuck in a geo-ban for the entire country of Israel to make new accounts via email. Or October 13th, sorry. So apparently for about a year, it's been impossible for people from the country of Israel to make new accounts. And like Twitch has never made any public announcement about this at all. So that's what we've been going over today. It's just like an insanely crazy, weird thing.
Wait, do they do geo bans on like war-related
No, no,
locations?
no, no.
So there's
Ukraine,
nothing like
no
this in
Russia,
Ukraine,
nothing.
Russia.
Nope. Yeah, it's really weird. It sounds like a troll, but it literally is unhinged. And like we've been going through tweets, and there's been like old posts on the Twitch subreddit. Even though it says unofficial, I'm pretty sure they have direct communication with Twitch employees. But the Twitch subreddit deleted like everything about this because a bunch of people randomly will post from Israel. They're like, "Hey, we can't make accounts. What's going on?" And yeah, it's just
They constantly were getting deleted.
well, no. In the past, they just weren't being responded to. But the big one that went up yesterday or the day before, it got like wiped out. It's a ghost town. Let me see if I can. Here you go.
Do they have an article about this, or is it someone just reporting on the issue and with no comment from Twitch?
Twitch hasn't made a single comment about anything ever in regards to supporters of Palestinian or Arab terrorism. Ever. Twitch doesn't comment ever on it, ever. Asmongold got banned immediately, though, for 14 days when he made an admittedly stupid comment about...
the people of Palestine. Yeah. I DM'd him and I said the same thing. I think, like, I could understand what you were saying about in regards to, like, Islamists and, you know, the fundamental, you know, Muslims that they're invading the area. But I think saying that about the people is very silly. And I think he is correct.
Wait, hold on. Just to be super clear, the other comments that are made are a million times worse than Asmongold's. It's not even close, just to be ultra clear.
I agree. Okay. But irrespective of how they handle things in general, I'm just talking about his comments in a vacuum. Whether they're banned, whether they're not, I don't really care. I just meant that I felt like he's becoming... When he said felt like he was becoming more hateful, I definitely agreed. And I understood where he was coming from. Yeah, I think there's a bit of a feedback loop when you're a content creator online, especially when you say some of the right-wing stuff that you just get kind of pulled into these circles where you're constantly rewarded for being kind of hateful or
sure, but it's also hard when the pro-Arab and pro-Muslim side is openly supporting terrorists and openly cheering for Israelis getting murdered, all of them. Remember, Hasan went on to that. He was in that podcast chat room, like clapping along when that one dipshit Second Thought was saying that children in Israel, the babies, are settler babies. And then Hasan went on to defend that comment in front of Ethan on Leftovers. Hasan defended that comment that every single citizen of Israel is a target for terrorist action. So, I mean, like, it's pretty hard. Yeah, the right-wing radicalization stuff is pretty crazy too, but this shit is insane. How openly, crazily anti-Semitic and hateful the large, like, Muslim or Arab communities can be with impunity on Twitch. It's wild.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about that. But I don't think that his reflections are in any way, shape, or bad, or I would dissuade him from it. Like, what you're describing is something I've been railing against forever. But I think the turn that he was taking is clearly impacting him. So that's what I was kind of hyper-focusing on.
Yeah, you're right. He is definitely heading in that direction. He needs to chill. I do agree with that, yeah.
Yeah. And I know some people were mad that he was apologizing either because they felt like, hey, why would you give up to the other side or whatever. But I think... if you're not the individual in question who's all of a sudden saying foul shit about people dying every day, like, irrespective of how you feel about the issue or how crazy the Muslims are being, not the Muslims, but like the Arab guys on the other side, like Hasan or whatever the fuck it is. I don't know. I thought when I heard his comments, I was like, woof, you are striking it very close to like zero compassion for people who are dying. And I don't know. I think when I DM'd him, he seemed like he was really trying to make a change. So I was just very happy for him in that regards.
Sure.
I don't know. When I've watched Hasan speak and just double take on everything, calling him a Houthi, calling him not a Houthi, he's just some kid who happened to be on a ship holding people hostage. Like, every time I cringe. But I think there is a big draw. Since we're on this topic, I wasn't going to discuss this. I think there is a big draw towards, I guess, a kind of anti-woke content. And I remember I had a phase of that where, you know, anti-SJW content was really high, and I really did genuinely hate a lot of these people. But I found not only the crowd that I was seeing below was changed, but I felt like I began fixating on it and just looking for boogeyman stories all the time. They weren't boogeyman stories to me at the time, but they were being... You might know what I'm talking about, but when you hear these guys talk about wokeness all the time, I feel like it's a boogeyman. 50% of the time they're talking about it. Like, it's not a real issue, it's not a real story, but because they're constantly railing about wokeness. And I found Asmongold was going down that road that I found myself going down a while back.
Yeah, that's pretty. That does happen sometimes where people fixate on like the trans shit and they're like obsessing over it, and it's like, how many people does this actually affect? This shit though is way crazier, and this is like, now I see that it's like part of the Twitch code base. Like the weird anti-Semitic shit has been proliferating on Twitch for over a year now in pretty unbelievable ways. and nobody seems to give a fuck about it. Which I
Wait,
guess
has
kind
it
of
really been? Has the anti-Semitic stuff really been that big on Twitch for that long? I feel
yes.
like before Israel Palestine.
That's why I said for about a year. I think I
Okay,
said it
okay,
right. Yeah,
okay.
it's
Fair,
gotten
fair.
extremely crazy.
You know what kind of black pilled me on the whole, like the anti-woke train, and I think this is what drives a lot of comedians and a lot of like public personalities towards what I feel like is like right identitarianism.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I talked about the feedback loop that you get when you start making this kind of content, and how all of a sudden a bunch of new people you've never seen before, all positively like and like religiously defending you and bigging you up as long as you like espouse what they like.
Yeah, it feels good.
It does, but I realized this that really kind of threw me off at one point. I realized that, as somebody who identifies as liberal, you're oftentimes asked to denounce and to talk about, the crazy lefties and the small minority of people who are doing all this insane shit. But I think I've literally never heard right wingers be told to publicly talk about the right wing extremism or to make a concerted effort to fight against it or rail against it. Like, I know plenty lefty personalities who will talk about extreme left. I know zero right wing personalities who talk about the extreme right.
Yep. This is why when I was on.
Is my perception wrong on that?
No, you're 100% correct. This is why when I was on Piers and he was screaming at me like, "Do you denounce this?" Blah blah blah, and I was like, unless Dave Rubin is going to admit to whatever, I'm not saying shit, because you're absolutely right. Because there is never a single thing that people on the right will ever take accountability for, ever. Every single bad thing they've done is actually Antifa, or they actually had full justification of doing it. That's why you should never, ever admit any wrongdoing around any of the right ever in the United States of America, because they don't deserve it. They're not worth it. They're not even participating in the same democracy that we are. They're living on another fucking planet. You will never see a right-winger take accountability or responsibility for anything. Accountability is fucking kryptonite to somebody who votes for Trump. It's not even close to what they expect the left to do.
Yeah. I guess it's a bit disconcerting to me because I found myself talking about these topics in the extreme left a lot. And there's multiple reasons why. Partially because a lot of what they were doing is very ridiculous. But also another reason is because I'm around these people a lot. Especially as an arts person, like I just see them often, so I'll interact with their craziness a lot more. So I felt hyperfixated on that for multiple reasons. But then I look at the other side, and like they'll literally sit with a white supremacist, or they'll talk on a full-blown racist person who does not want minorities here at all. We should never hold office. They'll shake hands. They will buddy up, and I'm like, what the fuck is happening? How am I feeding into these people's agenda when they can't have the simple courtesy to look at the person who wants to like phase me off the face of the earth and say, hey, your views are wrong. And if I ask them to do that, they're like, oh, I don't want to.
I mean,
it's like, isn't that
imagine
an insane double standard?
I mean, on the right, look at their obsession over like the Epstein fly list. Could you imagine on the left if we had an Andrew Tate who admitted to creeping and trying to fuck 15-year-olds with his brother?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you understand that Andrew Tate is not somebody that they disavow. It's not somebody that they're even like lukewarm about. Andrew Tate is somebody that almost all of these people defend. Like, that's insane. Like, oh, the guy that was trying to fuck the 15-year-olds, the guy that was probably fucking a 15-year-old is just, like, bought a bitch, the guy that, like, was bragging about fucking young girls all the time, like, that's the guy, like, yeah, but the right has no accountability, no responsibility for literally anything. They can do anything they want, and they never have to be accountable or apologize for or disavow anything on their side. Yeah.
My retort is just this now. It's like, okay, well, then point me to one single creator who spends a lot of their time talking about extreme right-wing views. And you won't find a single one. Nope. I can point to you a bunch of lefty creators or lefty, personalities who spend all day long whining about the extreme left, or justifiably criticizing it. Fine, I can name off the top of my head. I could probably name a bunch of anti-woke lefties who spend a lot of time doing that. Yeah. Can anybody name me one right?
I challenge somebody for this one time.
Looking for it. I couldn't find a single one.
I challenge somebody to this one time. Give me an example of conservatives or Republicans fighting against their own ever, and or fighting against, like, trying to limit their extremists or whatever. And the only example they could give me is when the Republicans lost the House leadership, and it was because some Republicans were trying to go after the other Republicans for making deals with Democrats, and they ended up fucking up their House majority leadership position for a little bit. That was the only example they could ever give. There's never, ever a case where a conservative or a Republican is disavowing people that are like further to the right of it. They just don't do it. It's insane. Yeah, it's insane. Yeah.
No, and that's just my rebuttal. I'm like, until anyone tells me otherwise, I'm literally never going to make any efforts to cape for these people because
and you shouldn't.
They wouldn't think twice about aligning themselves with somebody who doesn't want me around. Yeah. So I just can't. It's just, to me, so I'll probably talk to Schultz when I see him about this, but just seeing, self-proclaimed liberals buddying up with Trump all the time, and then really just playing into this kind of PR spin. I've seen a bunch of other, comedians do this thing where they interview him. I saw, what's his name? What's the guy with the rat guy?
The rat guy.
You know what I'm talking about? Theo Vaughn.
Theo Vaughn. Okay.
He also interviewed Trump. There's quite a few of them.
Oh, and they're all just like dick suck buddy buddy.
Yeah. They're all sucking off Trump, and I think this was one of the craziest moments for me.
Yeah.
Because I like Andrew, and I'll tell them this when I see him. But to me, it's just crazy that these guys will make the most flagrant jokes on the face of the planet, right? They will say whatever the fuck they want, and then they get in front of Trump, right? And then they got nothing. Right, so if it's a trans person, if it's a minority, they'll get flagrant. They'll make the most spicy takes.
Yeah.
Then they get in front of the powerful, and all of a sudden, they don't want to say nothing. It's no longer flagrant. Everything's fucking PC. Everything is like, we're gonna play by the rules. And I'm just like, really?
That's why it's so cringe when
point.
these like comedian guys will get up on stage, and even like I've even seen Louis C.K. and Chappelle do it a little bit. I don't know if those two do it as much anymore. Where it's like, right, I know you can't make this joke. Trans people, and it's like, bro, like everybody here is gonna laugh at this. Like nobody gives a fuck. Come on, you're not offending anybody in the audience, right? Yeah, but all these people, all these guys that have so much heat, so much comedy, so many jokes for like Biden and all these other people, never have shit to say about Trump. And that's a guy who is ripe, okay, for comedy. There's a lot to make fun of there. Yeah, but nobody touches it, and it's obvious why. Yeah, it's so cowardly, but whatever.
To me, it's just from the comedy community specifically, and from a lot of creators, I just think it's incredibly disappointing because they always fight for it, right? They fight for the right to be able to say whatever they want, to make the jokes about whoever they want. And when it's about the people who are generally the most powerless, right, they have no problems making that joke. I'm okay with that. That's fine, right? Because you told me you're going to punch in any direction, which I'm cool with. But then the moment this dude shows up, it's like, I'm going to keep quiet. Then I was like, what was the point of this freedom that you wanted so bad if you're not going to use it against the people who probably deserve it the most?
Yeah.
To me, that's the part I don't understand. And I feel like, I don't know, my experience is that a lot of lefties right now are getting caught up in this whole right-wing wave where they are perfectly fine with talking shit about everything on the left. But as soon as like anything on the right comes in, all of a sudden they start to tighten up. They don't want to anger. I'm just like, I don't know. I haven't really had the time to sit down and think about it. But I think my disappointment with the comedy community specifically has like grown exponentially the more I watch these people do interviews with this guy.
Yeah, and the issue too is that like, well, I hope I'm not naive when I say this, but I don't feel like the comedy guys themselves are ultra far right. But man, do they engender an audience that is crazy far right. The when I went on, Ryan Long and I always forget the other guy's name, and it's so rude and disrespectful. Do you know what I'm talking about? Ryan and his co-host.
Ryan Long and. Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Oh my God.
I worked with him too.
Danny Palushik.
Palushik.
Yeah. The last time I went on that show, oh my God, I got fucking brutalized in the comments. It was insane how much they hated me. And it's true of the entire Manosphere too. And these are people, by the way, that I have like good relationships with. Like we go out to eat, we're like fun, we chat, like we have a good time on the show. It's not like super combative. I have a good relationship with both of those dudes. I've got a good relationship with a lot of like, I don't want to say Manosphere-ish people, but do you know who like Chris Williams is or Alex O'Connor?
Yeah. I know,
I've got like good relationship with either. Every time I go on either of their shows, it's the same thing. This is a delusional, cuckold, fucking crazy, blah blah. Or Tom, Bill Yu or whatever from Impact Theory. Like it's all the same.
Wait, Alex O'Connor's not Red Pill. Isn't that dude like the atheist?
He is, but I feel like he's starting to have crossover with like the Chris Williams sphere of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
I always thought this guy would just do like really intense debates about like religion and the purpose of life and stuff like that. I never knew he would ever cross over because Chris Williams does the dating stuff. He does like the relationship things. I've never seen the O'Connor guy do that.
Yeah, both of them are kind of like moving into this more like general life sphere thing where they don't. Yeah, like Chris Williamson is like a general kind of like life advice and is moving into like these more generalized spheres. Like I wouldn't say Chris Williams is Manosphere anymore, and I think Alex O'Connor is moving in like a similar-ish direction. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. So you're saying these guys, when you went on their podcast, you were hated immensely, despite not by them themselves, but their fan bases.
Yeah, they'll hate anybody to the left. Well, they're like ostensibly like not really that far left at all. Yeah.
Okay. And what's your commentary exactly on that? I'm not sure.
It's just this weird thing where you can't like if I was talking to you right one-on-one and I said something like man, black people are loud at dinner or something, right? It's like it's a whatever comment, right? But if like Nick Fuentes is talking to you one-on-one and he says it, right? Or somebody says something to me about like, man, Cubans are pretty crazy sometimes, or like Hasan says it to me, there's going to be a different feeling about supporting that statement. And I feel like one of the issues that a lot of these people, they either aren't aware of it or they are aware of it and they play into it, is they do this fucking both sides shit where they'll make these so many concessions to these people on the right, but they will never, ever, 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 ever make a concession to a person on the left. And I noticed that, and if you go back and watch these retarded fucking shows I go on with these retarded fucking people like Jordan Peterson and Ben Shapiro and Candace Owens, when I'm on that show, the reason why it seems like there's a good conversation is I'm the one that's willing to be like, yeah, I get this, or I kind of understand that, and I understand. But on their side, there's never a real concession made, ever. And so it's just like, so when you go on and you start like making concessions for one side while allowing the other side to live with absolute impunity, then it's, yeah, you're like, that's the audience that you're creating. It's fucking ridiculous. So, yeah.
Yeah. I don't think it's just you. When I've seen you do that with the individuals in question, I think it's just most lefties. I think they get on these places and platforms and they really do. I don't know. I guess they just soften themselves. And they make themselves incredibly agreeable and diplomatic with people who are not reciprocating that energy whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
And
or they will, but they reciprocate it or for things that don't matter. Like you can get a Trumple to admit that, like, yeah, maybe Trump is like kind of mean sometimes online, LOL. But that's it. They'll never say like, yeah, maybe Trump did kind of like cause January 6th. They'll never say that. But they expect you to like say like 100%, like you admit that Barack Obama caused the BLM riots that happened under Donald Trump. Right? You 100% this is caused by whatever. Like you have to own all of that. But they won't even acknowledge. I don't even think they would acknowledge that J6 was primarily conservatives, right? They'll say it was Antifa and feds. So yeah, it's like not even remotely the same thing. It's just so cringe. Yeah.
I don't know, man. I feel like this is such weird times. I feel like I'm almost, at least over the last like 2.5 years, after we've gone into this like next phase of whatever the meta is on commentary stuff on YouTube. It's just made me look at, because I remember enjoying a lot of these channels, like I say enjoying. I remember I used to watch them in like lightly, and I would be like, oh, this is fine, whether it be Shapiro, whether it be Jordan Peterson, all these types. And I don't know what has changed over the last 2 years. I'm still need some reflection on it, but
yeah, there's one thing that's happened is that like when you look at them, the thing that I think is the saddest is they're smart people in there. They know, but that makes it even worse because they know what they're doing. It was really funny when I was going around for doing the insurrection debates, and I was kind of trying to see like, well, what were conservatives saying right when it happened or right after? On January 7th, Ben Shapiro makes a YouTube video saying this is like one of the darkest days in American history, and he calls it an insurrection, and then like. Yeah. Now it's just like wiped from his mind. It's like, well, no, I think it was like not a big deal at all. I was like, what the fuck?
So maybe it's not that I've changed. Maybe it's the fact that I feel like they have. It's just sinking in for me. Because I remember watching Jordan Peterson and like really enjoying a lot of his lectures. Like I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I was like, was I in a weird place at the time? Was I, or is he just distinctly different? And I asked a couple of people around me. Some people have noticed and other people haven't at all. Mm-hmm. But I feel as though that's been the case with a lot of the people on the right. It feels like the extremes or just the sides themselves have just completely pulled away ever so much. And I know I've heard you talk about it, how we can't agree on even basic, simple facts.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's true not just for facts, but I think it's also just ways of having conversation. I think it's also for the ways that they curate their content. Maybe it's because they're rewarded for being more extreme. Maybe it's for a lot of different reasons, but I feel like that whole sphere has completely changed.
Yeah.
And I can't watch any of it anymore.
I think one of the biggest contributors to this, the most frustrating thing, are all of those. I used to complain about these guys like 7 years ago, but now it's come back like with a vengeance. It's these fuckers in the middle that just co-sign it. Like the people that do the most damage aren't it's not the Tucker Carlsons and the Candace Owens. It's the fucking Joe Rogans. Like I think Joe Rogan just had that Graham Hancock guy on, a totally debunked bullshit wannabe archaeologist, and then he was shitting all over the guy who debated him, Flint Dibble, who like fucking destroyed this dude. It wasn't even close. Like people that watch Joe Rogan, they don't even like woke cucks from the institutions, like all agreed that Hancock got fucking annihilated. But like Joe Rogan brings them on, and then they're just like shitting all over him, and it's like, yeah, it's just so cringe. Yeah,
I don't know. I genuinely think I'm losing my mind sometimes.
Yeah.
I grew up watching Joe, so for me, like this is 12 years ago. And if you don't understand how far back, no, more than 12 years ago. This has got to be 14 years ago. Mm-hmm. I remember watching clips of Joe 14 years ago when it would just be a split screen. It would be him, Brian Redban, and sometimes Joey Diaz, and just be like shooting the shit. Yeah. And it was just a completely different vibe. And even when it transitioned to the first studio, I remember enjoying his content for years. It was like, for me, it was very informative because it was my first introduction to all kinds of different topics and just different ideas. And so for a lot of people today, they hear it and it sounds super cringe to them. But at the time, it was actually just a very feel good podcast that was very chill and people just talking. So it wasn't like it is today. And when I watch a lot of his stuff now, I'm not saying Joe's like the Antichrist or anything. I don't even think he's like a horrible person or anything. But it feels so distinctly different. And a lot of the guests that he started bringing on, especially the right-wing dudes that he would constantly bring on to just yap about dumb shit that I'm like, what the fuck am I listening to? And I'm like, is it me? Am I just in a different place? Is Joe changing? Maybe it's a mixture of both. But you see Joe having such a negative influence. I've just seen that community completely change. The audience that watches Joe now versus what used to watch him before feels like it's night and day. And even the things that Joe talks about feel completely different. Listen, I don't make reviews about it. I don't speak about it negatively. But my relationship with the internet and like a lot of the content I used to watch is it feels dead. And I don't know. There's like I guess a bit of to say mourning is a bit cheesy. But because it's content I grew up watching, just to see where it's at now, it just feels a bit sad. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean, like, I thought one of the perfect like encapsulations of the mind rot that's happening now. Did you see Matt Walsh talking to Joe Rogan? Joe Rogan lays out. It's a small clip that I'm thinking of, but Joe Rogan lays out a perfectly coherent reason not to believe in flat Earth. That like everybody would have to be in on a lie. There's no point in even lying about it. There's no way they could like even do that. It's like so obviously stupid. And then Matt Walsh is like agreeing with him. He's like, yeah, it reminds me of like the moon landing people, right? And then Joe like completely 180. He's like, well, hold on. I don't know about the moon landing stuff. He's like, I'm not sure. And I was like, wait, what? Yeah, I don't know. It's just like everybody has gotten. It's because everything turned political too. So everybody's expected to have like political opinions, which is like even more fucking cringe. Ugh, yeah.
I mean, I don't even think that's that bizarre. I think people use logic that's very sound in a lot of situations when it's convenient for them or when they have no emotional attachment to whatever it is that they're defending or fighting against. But, if people get attached enough to an idea and they really want to believe in it, they will discard the logic they used 5 seconds ago. And I've just seen it in person. So what you're describing is sensible. I've seen Joe talking about the moon landing for 12 years. So I've seen the whole shit evolve over time. And he's emotionally invested. He has been from the start because he always argues with the other guy. So I don't know. I don't think that kind of change of opinion is that bizarre. I think it's pretty normal for people to do stuff like that. Yes, as if you were watching, you can criticize, you can say whatever. But I don't think that's that weird for people to do that. Do you?
For this particular example, yes. It was crazy. Why? Because well, here, does anybody have the clip? It's like 1 minute. Does anybody have this real quick? Oh,
I think I know the clip. It's him talking about the moon landing, and then he all of a sudden he believes it, and I'm pretty sure they do, and then Matt Walsh laughs at him for that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with you in most cases. But it's just that Joe Rogan lays out the perfect line of logic. I'm not sure if I could even lay out he basically says almost exactly the same shit I say in terms of laying out the line of logic for why it's so stupid. And that exact same line of logic applies. The logic applies 1-to-1. The subject matter is incredibly similar, right? We're talking about like astronomy, the Earth, conspiracy theories. The people promoting the other thing are very it blows my mind that you could have such perfect logic in one area and not immediately carry it over.
What was the first thing that Matt Walsh brought up? Matt Walsh was believing what conspiracy?
Give me 1 second. Let me listen for it. Hold on.
The Joe Rogan experience.
Is this audio coming through to you?
You're moon landing.
Yeah, I can hear it.
Okay, I'm gonna play this record.
You're not you believe in the moon landing, right?
I used to believe in the moon landing.
Oh no, fuck! This clip starts late. You guys are retarded. Oh my god. Hold on.
Oh, the flat Earth thing?
Yeah, but I need somebody to... Oh, wait, hold on. I got to know. Wait, I got it.
Got it? All right, go for it.
I get it if...
This is just so crazy.
I get it if you're just completely stupid and you got sucked into this cult thing. But what I don't get is how can you be on the fence about the shape of the Earth?
Well, it's just people that really are not educated. That's number one. And people that believe that there's a collusion that's so large that all of the space agencies from Japan, from China, from Russia, all of them are liars. That all of them are colluding together to hide the true shape of the Earth. Because if we really knew the Earth is flat, then it always is connected to some sort of a Bible thing. Like it's the firmament, and they believe that we're hiding the fact that God is real, and somehow there's some mass conspiracy that all these world governments and every person that ever was involved in the space agencies, they've all hid from us.
Yeah, and you're moon landing. You're not a. You believe in the moon landing, right?
I used to believe in the moon landing.
You don't anymore?
I had a joke in my act about it, that before COVID, I would have told you vaccines are the most important invention in human history. And after COVID, I'm like, I don't think we went to the moon.
Yeah, I know that was in your. But
Yeah.
you actually think that?
I think there is a less than zero possibility that we did not go to the moon.
Like, it's that's like 1 to 1. How? Like, ordinarily, I agree with what you're saying 100%, that people will like kind of inconsistently apply logic and shit. But like, this is so clean from one topic to the next.
I mean, if I'm going to steel man Joe, I could probably make the case that, 60, 70 years ago, I think it would have been pretty easy to start some kind of conspiracy, keep all the information insulated, pay people off or kill them off in a time where we don't have access to the same kind of phone technology, all this other stuff. Like a conspiracy back then would make 1,000% more sense to me than it does today, if I was to defend it.
If we're still manning Joe, we don't know anything about the moon landing, maybe. But I mean, like, we can verify it today. And keep in mind, everybody's still keeping that lie up today, right? All the Earth's astronomy places, all the Earth's academic institutions would all also be involved in the lie, right? Like, I'm pretty sure you can look at the moon and still see shit on the moon from the landings, right?
Can you? I don't know. Joe would probably argue that information probably comes from the very people who started the conspiracy, so they have to believe it. How would they even
I'm
be
pretty
able
sure
to
you can
confirm
go buy
1000%?
a telescope today and see shit, I think, that was on the moon. I think you can see it, I think, with like stuff that you can buy as a consumer. Like, it's not, yeah.
Well, I don't know if that's true. If that's the case, then maybe that's evidence that maybe Joe needs to hear.
Sure. I mean, yeah. But
I don't know. I think the flat Earth theory is a bit sillier to me than the moon landing. But actually, yeah, I think it's 1,000 times more sillier because we can verify it every day and confirm whether or not. But a past event that happened way, way back then, and I've heard the arguments to layman. I can understand why it's pretty compelling, especially the stuff about the cell phone technology. I've heard all the fucking same sound bites. I don't really know much about the moon landing, so I don't really care. I haven't looked enough to disagree or agree. But I don't think these kinds of conspiracies between the moon landing and flat Earth are in the same stratosphere. No. Flat Earth is like unbelievably retarded because we can literally check it every day and confirm it.
I would say that the moon landing is the same, but I mean, I understand. I guess maybe there's a different, because I mean, like, the flat Earth stuff is hard to check your own as well, right?
What do you mean? Why is it hard to check? Literally, can't we just use satellites every day to just check the images?
I can't use a satellite to check the images.
Yeah, but there's all kinds of organizations all over the world who can check it, right? They're probably
Yeah, but that's
gonna
the
go
same
back.
thing with the moon landing stuff, right? There's all
Is
sorts
that
of.
the case? I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Did they have the technology for that 60? I don't know. I actually don't know. I don't know what the world was like 60, 70 years ago. That's why I'm
Sure.
so
I would
50.
say that the most compelling argument that you could make about faking the moon landings is that it would have been impossible to fake it with the video technology at the time. There would have been no way to do. There would have been no way to fake that on video. It's technologically impossible because it's all in slow motion, right? Because of the gravity.
Is that the case?
Yeah, absolutely. Because in order to do it, you would have had to have pre-recorded it because it's in slow motion, and then you would have had to have used these. You would have had to have shot like 50,000 feet of film, and the canisters, like the technology for that didn't exist. And then while you're splicing the film and doing everything else, like it's got to be in a clean room. There can't be a single speck because there were hours of footage that were being broadcast to the American public, and you would have had to have killed every person involved in like the filming, and it would just be it. It would be easier to send somebody to the moon than to fake it. Yeah.
Have you really looked into this conspiracy? Have
Yes.
you like done
Yeah.
dive? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so just I'll concede. I don't know shit about this stuff.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Anything else, buddy? I got a debate in like 8 minutes, so.
No, that was pretty much all. Good little chat. Appreciate you, boss.
Okay. I love you. Be careful.
Yes, sir.
I don't have I didn't have time to watch her fucking video on this. She has a YouTube video on like Trump derangement syndrome, and I didn't have time to watch it. Fuck me. Also, you guys are fucking retarded. Okay, please have some social awareness. Frogan and Capri contradict each other. We actually put Love Sabra on the list because I wanted to remind the panel of the time my father's people massacred my mother's people in Sabra and Shatila. It has nothing to do with ass store-bought hummus. It has to do with this very real deeper meaning. He's trolling in this top comment. These aren't contradictory. The top one is just him making a joke, right? Country IP blocks are usually handled at the Apache/Nix level, which routes requests to internal server apps, or at the firewall, not directly in the sign-up code. I'd be skeptical of that commit message. Programmers who build features aren't the ones implementing country IP bans. That's handled at an IT or security level and applied globally. It's not impossible to see it in code, but it seems off to me. I agree with you that it seems off, but I've had enough people basically tell me at this point that it came from code.amazon.com. It looks like a GitHub mirror repo from Twitch. I'm going to believe them at this point, unless I get like a really compelling reason not to. I do agree that it's weird. I don't know why you would do it, and that was the only country ban listed there. It did seem like inappropriate or weird, and it seems like a weird place to handle that request at. However, it's happening. It's real that is blocked, and Twitch hasn't made any comments about it at all. So I don't know why. So some retards in chat think you're confusing Alex O'Connor with Alex Playing with Fire. No, I meant Alex O'Connor. I think he's getting more into the generalish content. He's not just doing hardcore philosophy anymore, right? Doesn't he talk more generally about things now?
It does seem to me that there are...
Why the government fired this drug expert? You made it sound like he's gone off the deep end at Destiny. I didn't make it sound like it bad. If you heard it that way, you're fucking retarded. I don't think Chris Williams has gone off the deep end. I just think that a lot of these guys end up playing the both sides thing, which is annoying when it comes to politics. Destiny, why they do it in the code is because they do not want to ban existing users, only signups. Oh, that actually makes sense. Unless in the firewall there's a different signup server, and you could ban somebody in the firewall from the signup server. Yeah, I guess what you're saying makes more sense. If you want to ban just people signing up for accounts, yeah. Did you tell Alex this when he was here? Yeah, the whole episode we filmed was about politics. Yeah, I don't know when they're going to do it. Or when he's launching that episode. Apparently they didn't get their shit, so I'm sending them the episode. Thank God I kept the backup of that. Lucky him.
Obfuscate. Okay, I understand what you're saying. But this dude just called babies militants.
No, I understand. And there are baby settlers as well. But
This is such an unbelievable comment. Wait, somebody link me the second thought thing real quick. Just link it so that we can understand what he's defending. Do they have it? Do they listen to it here or no? This comment is worse than Asmongold's comment, okay? Asmongold's comment was bad, by the way. Oh, they do listen to it. Just to be clear, I don't co-sign mass killings of Palestinians or Arabs or Muslims, okay? None of that. I don't think any of that is good, okay? Only for MAGA. I'm just kidding. Not for MAGA either.
But they still choose to do far worse. The worst that will happen to a person in Palestinian custody is that they're going to be auctioned off for a prisoner swap, which is the historic track record also. Yeah.
And of course,
he's not wrong about this. This is the original goal.
He's not wrong about this. After hostages have been murdered, by the way, the worst thing that Palestinians will ever do when they've captured a person is to just auction them off for prisoner swaps.
For the military, the excursion, at least if you believe that.
I'm not exactly having a ton of faith in the dudes that decapitated babies to treating their POWs really well.
Well,
I think that's kind of a psychotic take too, where it's why are you trying to give Hamas the benefit of the doubt on this one? You know, being like, oh, they treat their prisoners fucking awesome. You know, let's not try to do that.
Okay.
But anyway, and that combined with just the callous, the laughter.
Listen,
hold on.
Did the Palestinians actually take civilian hostage, or is that fake news? I don't care.
Yes.
Okay,
And they're laughing about it.
let me pose a question.
Like, I don't care if they took hostages. Like, that podcast, that segment is easily worse than anything Asmongold said. Easily. That's an unhinged. Actually, real quick, somebody find me that, and we'll watch it real quick. I'm going to use the words for it. Somebody find me so I don't have to listen to them interrupted over and over again. Somebody find me that so you can get context for what Hasan is defending here, and then wonder why that show got canceled. One sec. Okay, wait, where is it? That fucking Frogan clip, she's violating like 3 different parts of like the hateful conduct. God, that's such an unbelievable...
And Faz also very much. He says, did the Palestinians actually take civilian hostage, or is that fake news? I don't care.
Yeah, the occupiers are not civilians.
Also, to be clear, I don't know if he's in this particular segment, but Hasan is watching this, and Hasan is like laughing along in their Twitch chat. Like, you can see his name pop up here.
Civilians. That is what it comes down.
And Faz also very much. He says, did the Palestinians actually take civilian hostage, or is that fake news? I don't care.
Yeah, the occupiers are not civilians. That is what it comes down to. Like, imagine
Sorry, go on.
Germany, let's say Germany, to be non-controversial, invaded the United States, and they said, you know what, Cincinnati, Ohio is our ancestral home, and everyone knows that's blatantly false, but they take your home, they murder your grandma, they bulldoze like your neighbor's house. Are those people civilians there? No,
This is their YouTube chat, not their Twitch chat? Okay. They might be dual streaming to Twitch? I know, or maybe it was on YouTube as well. I know I've seen Hasan's name pop up in their chat here, because it blew my mind when I saw it.
Are those people civilians there? No, they're occupiers, and those are criminals. There are no civilians there.
There are no civilians. Remember, when they talk about Zionists, when they talk about from the river to the sea, this is what they mean. There are no civilians. They're right. They don't want to kill Jews. They just want to kill Zionists. But also, every single Jew is a Zionist, okay?
Illegal military occupation.
Yeah. So that's number one, very beautifully put. Number two, much more importantly, the track record of Palestinians has been 1,000 times better than that of the Israeli occupation, despite the fact that Israeli occupation does not need to brutalize. They already have all the power, but they still choose to do far worse. The worst that will happen to a person in Palestinian custody is that they're going to be like auctioned off for a prisoner swap, which is the historic track record also.
Somebody said you can see Hasan in the YouTube chat here.
Hey, look.
It's okay.
It's Hasan.
You get a kiss from
Hasan's
me.
in chat.
No.
That's why.
I see.
Yeah, hey, Hasan.
All right. Hey, what up?
Hey, partner.
Right, that makes sense. Mohammed Zaman sent.
There you go. I told the lady 10 minutes for my debate. Hold on. And there's one more section from this real quick.
Kim, you're the closest. Tell us, what the fuck is going on?
Very base things. This will be incredibly hard to do without.
So this is October 9th, okay? This video is being posted on October 9th in regards to what's happening right now in Israel, okay?
Tell us, Hakim, you're the closest. Tell us, what the fuck is going on?
Very base things. This will be incredibly hard to do without getting bleeped or getting the stream taken down. So I'm gonna what's it called? Mind my words a little bit. TLDR, basically a unexpected operation from a united front of sorts from Gaza that has launched itself into the neighboring areas. Which, of course, the entire nation is Palestine, but for all intents and purposes right now, just to make it more simple, they've attacked certain settlements in what is termed now Israel. And they've made lots of headway. They made an impressive amount of headway. They've also taken out a very interesting and surprising number of military commanders and leaders, particularly of Southern Command within Israel, which is interesting. The fact that they got one guy would have been impressive, but they got more than just one guy, so that's very good. But TLDR, before to preempt all the questions, this has two major benefits. Number one, it's kind of to throw a wrench in the normalization process between Israel and Saudi Arabia, which is a very good thing. And number two is also to gain concessions in the forms of prisoner swaps, because there's a lot of people who are imprisoned illegally by the Zionist forces, and all these people that the armed groups within Palestine have managed to capture. These people will be eventually sent back to Israel in return for freeing at least some number.
And just to give you a perspective on how valuable a single prisoner is, the last time there was a prisoner exchange, they exchanged one Israeli prisoner for like 1,027 Palestinian prisoners, I believe, something like that. So if you've got now 50 to bargain with, that's huge. That's huge.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's the context of the show that Hasan is defending here.
Question for you.
Go ahead.
So you have said that those in the West Bank are fundamentalist settlers. Are you familiar with the international law surrounding the justifiable forms of violence towards?
So first of all,
terror?
I don't put any stuff.
What Hasan was about to say there is you can murder children. Justifiable forms of violence against settlers. He was going to do the settler babies comment. That's what he's...
frankly, and whatever these quote international laws are.
Yeah, it's.
But no, I'm not familiar with whatever that says.
Technically, the reason why the IDF has to exist in the West Bank and behave in the oppressive manner that they behave is because Palestinians, and this is going to sound very radical and possibly very violent, but this is a matter of law, and maybe even if you agree with this, a matter of morality. Palestinians have the legal ground to violently seize back their own homes.
Just to be clear, that's not true, by the way. That's only true against invading military personnel, not against civilians. So he's just lying or misinformed there. Probably lying, though.
Have the legal ground to violently seize back their own homes from these settlers. This is a reality, and that is precisely the reason why they have to exist under endless occupation in the West Bank.
You know what? And that's why I say, if it was settlers, that would be a lot more understandable. Yeah. But let's not obfuscate, okay? I understand what you're saying. But this dude just called babies militants.
No, I understand. And there are baby settlers as well. But there are.
So he said that, just so you have the full context. So this is what Hasan is saying. After the guy who said some base things are happening right now, referring to the mass rapes and murders on October 7th, right? Saying that every single civilian is fair game in Israel. All of them are, right? And then brought on for this baby settler comment, Hasan co-signs it, right? Just so you are aware of everything that's being said here, the full context of everything that's being said here.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. But this dude just called babies militants.
No, I understand. And there are baby settlers as well. But there are baby settlers as well. There are babies in the settlements.
But the babies...
Look at how he plays that argument. There are babies in the settlements. This motherfucker says that English is his second language, and he lies and manipulates like the best BPD girl in the world, right? Well, there are babies in the settlements, right?
Babies militants.
No, I understand. And there are baby settlers as well. But there are baby settlers as well. There are babies in the settlements.
But the babies that killed were not.
I know.
Okay, so
now that we established that. No, hold on. Now that we established that, the other school of thought here is that all matter of Israelis living on Israel proper are they're also doing the exact same thing in the eyes of some. I do not agree with that because I don't think that is a reasonable solution. And
keep in mind here that he's very careful when he couches his language, right? Like every good Nazi, he talks very, very, very carefully. When he says that every Israeli citizen could be targetable, some people would argue. Personally, I disagree with that, because it's not very pragmatic to murder and rape all of them. That's what he's just said, right? He's not saying that. I disagree with that because obviously we can't live in a world where we're all killing each other constantly for our property, right? This would be a morally worse world, right? He's just saying that it's not very pragmatic to murder and rape every single Israeli citizen.
In the eyes of some, I do not agree with that because I don't think that is a reasonable solution, and it's not realistic anyway, and that only will lead to the complete evisceration of Palestinians, and far-right Israelis will use that to...
When you hear people say things like that, right? And again, God, fuck, I don't want to do the ultra-Zionist bullshit because those people are cringe. But this is what Jews hear when you talk about like, oh, they should have their own state with a full military, right? Hasan just said, right, in full clear words, right? He's not like speaking in code. He just said he doesn't support Palestinians raping and murdering Israeli citizens en masse because it wouldn't be very effective. It probably wouldn't work. And it would lead to the evisceration of the Palestinian people. So if Palestinians had a path to victory that involved the mass slaughter of millions of Israeli citizens, would it be okay then? Like that's what he's saying, right? Just rewind the tape one time.
I do not agree with that because I don't think that that is a reasonable solution, and it's not realistic anyway, and that only will lead to the complete evisceration of Palestinians, and far-right Israelis will use that to continuously radicalize just regular Israeli citizens in their endless bombing campaigns and ethnic cleansing campaigns and the brutal occupation.
Like, imagine me saying, like, you know, like, would you ever rape like an Asian girl? Personally, I don't think I would ever rape an Asian girl because I think it would make Asian men hate me a ton. Like, in any other context, this would be an unhinged comment. It would be insane to say something like that, right? It's part of the reason why I get mad about the Asmongold, like, Instaban too, because there are like 50 different comments that Hasan has made where they're infinitely worse than things that Asmongold has said, right? Asmongold is like, we should genocide these people because they want to kill us anyway, right? Which is, by the way, I'll say it again for the millionth time, it was stupid comments. And I think they were culturally insensitive comments. Like, not even like, oh, you're not being woke enough, but like, you're just not being nuanced enough in understanding the differences and the disparities in the cultures. But Hasan is just straight out saying it, okay?
This is why many thinkers, I believe even including Norm Finkelstein, who has dedicated his entire life to speaking the truth about
speaking the truth, but can't speak either of the languages that he professes to be a scholar of for Israel and the conflicts.
About Israel's occupation, and Noam Chomsky and many others, even Edward Said, as I brought up earlier, believe that the de-Zionification or the displacement of Israelis from Israel proper, Jewish Israelis, is it's not justifiable and it's not realistic. It's more so a single state solution, at least one that I advocate for, because I know a lot of people advocate for a two-state solution. I'm a one-stater, which would
Was there a question?
What?
I thought you said I have a question for you at the beginning of that.
I gave you the question. You already answered it. You said, I know your position.
Anyway.